What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we have a couple things to talk about. The first thing being the dice game. So whatever dice you have available, just try to make your rounds, go as far as you can. I know that the dice game is a complete shit show, and we didn't get near enough dice as we should have from the Rush Dungeon. So a lot of people, they just farm for the rubies in the Rush Dungeon, and they just stopped that. They didn't really even try to make their rounds around the dice game, and I'm definitely one of those people. You can see that all I did was got to 7 rounds in this thing, so I won't even get the maximum rewards, which is a shame, you know. I mean, this dice game could have been really, really good, but, you know, Netmarble being pretty damn stingy with the dice. I mean, 15 dice per round in the Rush Dungeon, that's just abysmal. When you need, you know, a good 1,000 or 1,500 dice just to make one round around this thing, it's just ridiculous. But, you know, I wish you all good luck. Hopefully you were able to make it to the very end, unlike maybe myself and maybe some other players out there. But the interesting thing about today's video is what the dev team actually released yesterday on YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and turn the sound off here so we can watch this. All right, so I'll just give you all my thoughts on all of this. We will have some English translation as well in here. All right, so we got the manager Chris here talking about the buffs for characters that we've asked for. All right. Okay, good. And creating future metas. So this video is going to be regarding the buffs that we asked for, about the characters that we did a voting poll for, and actually some other characters that might actually be getting buffed in the future, which is very interesting about this video. I'm getting some intel, if you will. Nameless, not bad. Little hint there.
자기소개 부탁드릴게요. 네, 저는 킹오파 개발실에서
Yeah, we see your nameless.
담당하고 있는 메타 깎는 노인 네임리스입니다. 반갑습니다.
Okay, nice to meet you too. What is a fighter meta?
쉽게 말해서 킬 효과나
Simply it means the skill effects and core passive effects are OP. If we take BS Leona,
스킬 베리어나 화상, 스킬 등이 있었고
yes, she has a barrier type. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
효과들이 메타라고 볼 수가 있습니다.
So they're just talking about, you know, Leona's skills here, pretty much how OP they are. Now they're talking about the survey for the buffed characters, or the characters we want to be buffed. Nameless in first place. Now, is that a surprise? That is no surprise at all. Nameless is a fan favorite, you know. I made a video regarding this issue, and, you know, he's already a damn strong character, but I guess now he's going to be even more OP.
지금 가면을 쓰고 왔지만은 제가 네임리스가 약간 가장 좋아하는.
Yeah, he's a lot of people's favorite character, obviously.
많을 줄은 몰랐어요.
전 세계 유저분들께서 주셨던 여러 가지 의견인데요. 결과만 보면은 네임리스가 좀 압도적으로.
Nameless is number 1.
다른데 뭐 애쉬가 2등이.
And then the second difference in different countries, Ash, Mukai, and Rock Howard, I guess we're in second place in different countries, depending where it was at. That's actually pretty interesting. I know that I had Ash myself, and I know a lot of others did. Pretty cool that I see Rock Howard on there and Mukai. I mean, Rock Howard's a pretty good character, but I wouldn't argue that he really needs a buff. Mukai and Ash definitely need a buff.
이런 친구들이 평이군에 포진되어 있는 것 같아요. 안타깝게도 저는 우리 보스이신 제로 클론에서
He wanted Zero Clone to get buffed. That would have been amazing, because Zero Clone's a character that we can actually farm in the game. That would actually have been dope if he would have been voted to get buffed.
생각하시기에 어떤 거 상향을 했으면 좋겠다라고 좀 그려지시는 그림.
Okay.
투표를 많이 해주신 것들은 이제 소중한.
So now they're talking about how they buff their characters, how they figure it out.
좋을 것 같다라는 생각이 들고요. 한 번에 다 상향을 쓸 것 같고.
I don't think all of them can be buffed to bump. We can't bundle them up. So they're going to buff these characters in waves, so a character at a time. And this is interesting. Halloween fighters will also be buffed. Say what? Halloween fighters are going to be buffed?
그리고 추가적으로 말씀드리자면은 예전에
Man, we'll see. The BS fighters that were released before are also in the future buff plans. Now, that is interesting, and there's a reason I stopped on this page right here. the BS characters that were released before are probably going to get buffed. And you guys, if you eagle-eyed viewers out there, more than likely you can see that you're probably going to see BS Orochi in these comments right here quite a bit, right? He shows up quite a bit, and there's a reason for that, because BS Orochi, in my opinion, really, especially for PvE, is really the weakest amongst all of the BS characters for PvE. He definitely is, man. And so, when I look at that and I see his name in those comments over and over, and they, whenever they're talking about this and then they show those comments, it leads me to believe that BS Orochi will probably get a buff, and maybe someone else too. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe they'll buff Rugal. I mean, who knows? But really, if anybody deserves it and needs it in the BS clan, it would be BS Orochi, right? He is not very good. I mean, he's okay. He's got a good leadership, but he's not really the greatest in PvE. He's really more of a PvP character, whereas a lot of the other BS characters were kind of a mixed blend, right? They're really good in PvP and they're really good in PvE. They're solid all around, whereas it seemed like Orochi was more catered toward PvP than anything. And a lot of players were kind of pretty dissatisfied with that, because a lot of players don't play PvP. They can't play it. The connections suck. So and they talk about buffing the Halloween fighters.
네, 아무래도 이번 앙케이트 조사한 파이터들은 대부분
Like I said, interesting information.
최근에 출시하는 파이터들에 비해
Their metas are rather lacking. Yeah, no kidding.
그래서 그런 메타적인 부분을 보완을 해주고, 그리고 액션적인 부분에서도 상향을 생각을 하고 있습니다. 네.
And they're pretty much talking about, like, the BS characters that were released in the past. They're saying their metas are lacking, which means they're weak, right? So it's time to give them a little something.
데미지가 있다 그러면 좀 화상 데미지를 피해량을 조금 더 올려준다, 그 정도의 수준인가요?
그런 것도 있고요. 아예 없던 효과가 추가된다.
Sometimes brand new effects are added. Yeah, like super armor and hyper armor. You can bet Nameless is probably going to get hyper armor. I almost bet money he'll get hyper armor.
타이밍 그런 거를 조금 더 유리하게 바꿔주겠다, 그런 걸로 이해를 하면 되는 거죠.
Now they're talking about hitboxes. Now this is pretty wild.
하단 판정이 없었는데 하단 판정을 추가.
Now if you look here, guys, this is cool. This is actually really good for a lot of players out there that aren't aware of this. But this is a hitbox, right? There's like an invisible hitbox on your characters, and on the specific character and on the area that they're actually attacking. And if they got a bigger hitbox, they're going to be able to hit targets a lot easier. If it's a small hitbox, they're not going to hit targets as easy. And sometimes they're short, they're tall. Sometimes the hitbox will start, like here's the ground level, and the hitbox will start right here. So if it's like a sweep or something, sometimes it won't hit or connect. I mean, and this is pretty cool that you actually get to see this. I really love that they showed this in this video. I mean, if they, seriously, man, if they increase the size of hitboxes, that makes a big difference for fighters. I mean, think about it. When you're in Immortal Dungeons, and a lot of times you're not hitting the Immortal Dungeon himself, whether it's Nyx or Vulcan or whatever, that's why. It's because the damn hitbox is so freaking small. And a lot of times you got to get right in front of the bastard, right, or right next to them to be able to hit them. And it's really annoying, because a lot of times the AI will be down on the bottom or on the top, and they just completely miss. So whenever characters have these big hitboxes, it's a lot easier to hit your target.
상향이 체감되는 방향으로 진행하겠다는 말씀이신 거죠?
Hey Mukai, what's up, buddy?
네, 저희가
You should get buffed.
파이터들을 정말 열심히 개발해서
They're developing a range of fighters.
파이터들의 라인업은 어떤 방식으로 좀 결정이 되나요?
어떤 파이터를 출시를 할지 면밀히 기획을 한 다음에
Okay.
쪽과 이제 협의를 통해서 라인업을
Alright, so they're just talking about, their processing of new fighters.
저희가 뭐 여러 좀 콜라보라든지 뭐 시즈널 이벤트 같은 게 있잖아요. 또
Okay.
그런 거에 특색 있게 라인업을 구성한다, 뭐 이렇게 이해하면 되겠죠.
네, 맞습니다.
네, 지금까지 나온 파이터 이외에 이제 앞으로 또 TF 저희 여성화 파이터들.
Do you have any plans of adding TF lady fighters? TF? What the hell is TF? I don't know if there's a translation thing here, or it's just, no, it's not translated. It just says TF right there in Korean. So TF, does that mean I'm not going to say it, but I mean, what does it, kind of like BS, right? What is it with these names for these characters they have? Like, you got BS, right? Total BS. And then now they're going to have TF, which is, right? I'm not going to say it, but you get what I mean, right? let's read on a little more. Let's listen to what these guys got to say.
이후 그런 파이터들
Or fighters from after 03. Okay.
네, 현재 준비하고는 있고요.
네네.
정확히 언제 출시된다고 말씀드리기는 조금 애매하지만은
네.
기존 크가장 영상을 보신 분들은 아시겠지만은 파이터 하나 만드는데 굉장히 공수가
Yeah, yeah. A lot goes into creating a new fighter.
조금 안타까운 부분이 있지만은 저희도 최대한 빨리 개발을 해서 이렇게 여러분들에게 보여줄 수
Let's say they're busting their butts right now, trying to get things done.
스토리 이후의 파이터들을 어쨌든
We are considering the release of TF and Fighters 03. And earlier they said TF Lady Fighters. So I guess TF is going to be specifically for the ladies. I'm not really sure what exactly TF stands for or what it means. And this says fighters after 03. So all the fighters that came in KOF after 2003,
저희도 이제 출시를 하려고
Wow.
생각을 하고 있기
or maybe during 03, I'm not really sure.
하고 있다는 거 정도 알고 계시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
게시판 보더라도 뭐 여러 가지 또 TF 파이터에 대한
Yeah, yeah, we want to know what the TF fighters are.
크과장도 이제 TF 한번 나올 때 되지 않았나 그런 생각을 한번 해봅니다.
끔찍한데요.
A little joking there.
깜찍인가? 알겠습니다.
It's pretty funny, actually.
새로운 파이터를 만들다 보면
It's good to know they get a sense of humor.
컨셉이랄까 특징을 잡아줘야 되잖아요. 이런
Alright.
파이터 계획은 어떻게 진행하고 계신가요?
킹오파는 기본적으로 오리지널 설정이
Alright.
있는데
네네.
최대한 그 오리지널 설정을 살려서
Yeah, you guys make metas every damn patch, pretty much.
설정 안에서 킹오파
Or every update.
뭔가 좀더
We're trying to amplify the meta.
확장해서 작업을 하려고 하고 있습니다.
예를 좀 들어주실 수 있나요?
예상치 못한 질문인데요.
그냥 제가 너무 어렵게 질문.
You guys need to be upping the ante as far as content. That's what you need to be upping the ante for.
또 화상이냐 뭐 이런 얘기도.
If we take BS Leona, some players said they were tired of her burn damage. because we had so many characters with burn, so that's why people were complaining about it. It's like, look, we have a ton of characters with burn, and now lo and behold, people are playing with Leona and seeing how fast she can break that meter. I mean, if you have a character that's Starlight, if you have a character that's Shock, she just well, actually, you can just put the Show Me option card for Shock and just melt. People aren't complaining as much now. I don't think about that.
메타를 주기는 좀 힘든 부분이 있다 보니까
그렇죠. 네.
약간 킹오파를 좋아하시는
But yeah, when Leona first showed up, people were pretty upset about the whole burn thing.
것은 조금 싫어하시지 않을까.
But she is hot, my friends. She is hot, literally.
어떻게든 활용을 하려고 하고 있습니다.
그렇죠. 그래서 뭐 레오나 같은
Okay.
불 같은 게 폭발하고.
Yeah, boy, they really talk about Leona a lot. You gotta give these guys some love for showing her some love, right?
그리고 뭔가 콜라보 같은 거 할 때에도 뭔가 좀 콜라보에 뭔가 힘을 주기 위해서 그런 거 메타도 따로 이렇게 고민을
Alright.
콜라보 같은 경우에
Now they're talking about collaborations.
있기 때문에
네네.
그 부분을 최대한 참고를 해서 메타에
오케이.
적용을 시키려고 하고 있고요.
네네.
만약 킹오파 올스타에 어울리는 뭐 설정이나
네.
메타가 없다 그러면은 최대한 그 캐릭터 성격에 맞게끔 메타를
Okay, so right there, he's saying, you know, if there isn't a clear meta, I guess for a certain game mode when it comes to collaborations, they try to make one of the collaboration characters. They cater that character for that game mode, so that way they're somewhat of a meta, or that they are a meta. That's the way that I understand what he just said.
스페셜 스페셜 시그니처 같은 경우에는
What do you think about making the most out of metas for BS and SS fighters?
보스 신드롬이 처음
오케이.
나왔을 당시에 뭔가 보스 신드롬만의 특별한
Yeah.
메타가 있었으면 좋겠다라고 생각을 했어요.
They say it was unique to have a BS fighter to have their own unique meta. I think what they're talking about there's like their core passive, maybe.
부터 지금까지 계속 이제
Yeah, so they've been applying similar core passes for both previous and current renditions of BS. Yeah.
이게 약간 보스 신드롬만의 아이덴티티라고 생각을 해주시면 될 것 같습니다.
정말 많은 파이터들에 대한 혹은 카드들
What's the most memorable event? Check this answer out.
본인이 하셨던
Full disclosure, I've already watched this once.
있으신가요?
지금 제가 쓰고 있는
The work I did on Nameless.
가장 기억에 남는 데이니스 같은 경우는
How convenient.
처음에 나왔을 때 그 당시에는
네네.
굉장히 강력한 파이터였어요.
Yeah, he was a super strong fighter, man. He was a damn meta for a long time.
상식을 뛰어넘는
맞아요. 네.
그런 수준의 파이터였는데 그렇다 보니까 좀 많이 기억에 남는 것 같습니다.
그렇죠. 기존에 있던 애들보다 약간 좀 더 차별화된 그런.
Yeah, he was very impactful.
네, 그리고 아마 제가
Probably the most anticipated character in KOF, honestly, when he first showed up.
걸로 기억하는데
맞아요.
그거랑 같이 시너지가 나다 보니까 더더욱 강력한 파이터가 됐고 그리고
Yeah.
액션이나 이펙트 같은 연출도.
Nameless is still a very solid character.
그래서 덕분에 정말 네일미스 잘 쓰고 있고 그럼 더 앞으로도 더 세지겠네요. 또 네일미스 또
So he's going to get stronger. He's saying he's going to give Nameless some love, of course.
더 새로 나갈 때
That ought to make you Nameless players pretty
어떤
happy.
식으로 이렇게 설정을 하게 되나요?
일단 이 파이터가 어느 정도 수준의 성능까지 끌어올릴지를 먼저 정하게 됩니다.
네.
메타 기획을 하게 되고 메타 기획이 작업까지 다 완료가 되면은 그 이후부터 이제 테스트를.
Okay, so they test the characters through AI.
이런 다양한 컨텐츠에서.
All right, and test them in multiple environments, in PvP and PvE.
저희가 최초에 기획을 했던 그 성능 수준에 맞는 판단을 한 다음에
네네.
세부적으로 수치 조정을 하고 있습니다.
그 테스트라는 게 뭐 자체적으로 테스트.
What kinds of tests are there?
하는 테스트도 있나요?
저희가 일단 수동적으로.
They say they actually play their characters, which is actually pretty interesting. And sometimes the AI department helps them. It does make you wonder how much they do play the characters, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I don't know. So that was the interview with Nameless.
대해서 인터뷰를 나눠봤는데요.
So I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. That's pretty much the end of this video. I mean, there's a lot of interesting information there, man. There's a lot of interesting information. You know, we got the TF fighters are going to be coming, whatever those are going to be. We know that the Halloween fighters are going to be getting buffs, which is pretty interesting. Let me see if I can find the Halloween fighters here. So like all these fighters can be getting buffed. I mean, Chris is actually a really good character already, right? He's solid. Alice is a really good character. I mean, if this girl ends up getting a buff, her poison damage could be really handy against Immortal Vulcan. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, Kula there. Kula's actually really good for Immortal Typhon. Shermie's actually really good for Immortal Vulcan. Zhang Fei there's got a great leadership for Red Fighters. I mean, you can always farm for Yashiro there in the game. I mean, there's quite a few characters here that can actually be quite useful, especially if they start getting buffs. And maybe if they buff them up good enough, right? You could use them for maybe some of your lower cost clears against the Epic Quest, which would be pretty cool. But we're going to have to wait and see, what they do. It's actually very interesting to know that they're going to buff. I don't know if they're going to buff all these characters. Maybe they'll buff just one or two of them. I don't really know. So, I mean, the video leaves a lot of speculation, right? Or, as far as, what Halloween characters are going to get buffed, if not all of them. What BS fighters are going to get buffed, right? I really tend to think it's probably going to be BS Orochi. I mean, don't quote me on that. I just don't know. We really don't know. But when you look at those comments, when they were talking about the BS fighters getting buffed, I saw BS Orochi's name quite a bit. So I think that's really the one that they're going to be focusing on more than likely. And then we're going to have the TF fighters, I don't even know what to say about that. So that's going to be really interesting to see also. So let me know what y'all think about all this information that we saw today from the dev team. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.